Okay, so in my previous video on 100 Years Quest, I was a little bit confused, because it seemed like our heroes, aka Team Natsu, were not as strong as they were supposed to be considering the world that they're in, and considering what was established about this world prior. Like, it's supposed to be a world overflowing with magic, but aside from Wendy's healing abilities kind of being boosted, no one else's magic appeared to be raised. Like, there was no significant change with anyone, again, aside from Wendy's healing abilities. Everyone seemed the same. So I talked about that in that video, and I got a lot of replies and a lot of people giving their thoughts and their answers on the subject. And I'm gonna address two. There were tons of comments on the video, so sorry if I'm not talking about yours in this one, but I'm not trying to make this thing 13 hours long, so, you know, you feel me? So the first comment was about how Elentier had its magic suppressed by the priestesses, and that's why it seems like their magic isn't stronger. It's because the magic in that world is kind of like at an average level. Now that's a good theory, and there's some evidence to back it up, but the thing is we don't know how long ago the priestesses suppressed Elentier's magic. And magic, for the most part, always replenishes. It always comes back. Plus, in this chapter, it stated that Selene being in Elentier, like, accelerates the inflation of magic in Elentier. And she's been there for quite some time. She was there when, if I'm not mistaken, Team Natsu was fighting Aldron. So that theory, while being kind of good, it just doesn't really work. There's too many holes. But this second comment, you know, he might be onto something. It's from the homie Sammy D, and I'm gonna actually read out this one because it is a long, detailed explanation, okay? So he says, I'm actually not surprised. Listen to this. So this is how magic works. A wizard contains a certain amount of magic power in their bodies, and the more magic, aka ether nano, they contain in their bodies, the stronger they are. But that doesn't affect the speed that they can reabsorb the ether nano back inside. That means that even if they are in a world that has a lot more magic, it doesn't affect the quantity of magic in their bodies. Therefore, it doesn't make them stronger. But I think that the excess amount of magic will affect them in two ways. First, there is a lot of magic. It's gonna make it, I'm gonna fix this here, way faster for them to refill their magic. Second, I think it will make them stronger, but over time. Basically, since there is a lot of magic in the air, it's gonna create more pressure than normal, and as a result, there will be more ether nano in their bodies, making them stronger. Also, since their bodies will now be used to containing a bigger quantity of magic, it means that their strength increase will be permanent even in other worlds. Now, that is a pretty good explanation, and the reason why I'm even going over all this stuff is because, while there were a lot of explanations and comments in that previous video, there were also a lot of people on my side, and maybe they didn't read the other comments that people like Sammy D left, so they might still be as confused as I was. But yeah, as a theory, explanation, whatever you want to call it, that one's pretty good, and that's the one that I'm gonna accept. But now that that's out of the way, it is time to move on to Chapter 73, a chapter that I actually had to reread a couple of times because on my first take, I didn't really like it, because it just felt like it went by super fast. But after rereading it, I realized that that wasn't a problem with the actual chapter itself, that's a problem that I think the entire arc is facing right now. Like, we entered this arc about 5 chapters ago, and so much stuff has happened already. We're in a brand new world, and we haven't really had any time to explore it yet. Because as soon as they got here, they were separated, and then they were defeated, and now they're at this mountain, kinda facing off against Selene already. And that's another reason why I'm kinda wishing that Natsu and Gray hadn't been defeated. It would have been cool to see them explore the world with Happy. It would have been cool to see them explore this brand new world, get to see more environments as they make their way to this Black Moon Mountain, or, you know, maybe they would meet up with Ferris and then they would go see the White Priestess. Either way, I just wanted more exploration of Elentier. I'm hoping that maybe we'll get some more exploration soon, maybe from Ferris and Toka's point of view, but who knows, bro. Anyways, let's now talk about the actual chapter, because despite my problem with the arc itself, I like this chapter. So this one basically starts off with Natsu and Gray in Selene's, I don't want to say chambers, like in the main hall of like her palace on top of Black Moon Mountain. And the two of them, after sitting through Selene taking a bath and getting dressed, the horror, then ask what her objective is. What does she want? Does she want to fight? What is she after? And Selene explains that what she's after is entertainment. She doesn't want to eat humans or take over the world. She just wants to drink and have a party while watching the elegant moon. It's funny because Natsu gets like confused by this. He's like, wait, are you actually a good guy? You don't want to eat people and you don't want to take over the world? So we cool? But then she continues and says, as long as she's enjoying herself, it doesn't really matter if a world or two gets sullied or distorted or basically destroyed. And after hearing that, Natsu's like, okay, yeah, you're a bad guy. Now, I want to talk about Selene's desires here for a moment. Well, I think that they're fine. She's actually more like a mythological type god than any of the other dragon gods that we've had before. You know how like gods from the Greek and Norse pantheon were all about just, oh, the humans are our entertainment, oh, you're gonna be my champion and go slay the Hydra and do all this stuff, and I'll give you like a golden nickel or whatever. She's more like that, which I think is fine, but it's still basic. I mean, it's fine, it's workable. I was just hoping that she would be like a mastermind. Also, side note, is it weird to anyone else that Natsu didn't talk about his scarf? Like, not even once. But anyways, getting back on track, Selene then throws a party. A bunch of her supporters come out, they're drinking sake, they eating food, Gray's getting felt up by Hakane. Boy, she really pulled the Uno reverse card on hating men, huh? But after more partying and more drinking and more feeling up and dancing and all of that, Selene asks Yuko if the preparations are complete. Yuko says yes, and then Selene flicks her fingers up towards the moon, and the moon starts shining and getting bigger, and the light of the moon fills the entire chamber, and in a flash, both Gray and Natsu are teleported to the bottom of Black Moon Mountain. It's a place where the yokai of rivers and mountains dwell, called Onigatsuki. The two of them are in different spots in Onigatsuki. Unfortunately, I was really looking forward to a Gray and Natsu team up, but maybe later. Anyways, and they are given the challenge of defeating the yokai and making their way back up the mountain. It's sort of a race, and Selene and the other women are watching. This again goes back to my point about her being like one of the mythological gods like Zeus and stuff. Zeus was definitely doing this type of stuff in mythology, bro. Yo, here's a challenge, go complete it. Anyhow, while Gray is being a little bit reluctant to engage in this game, Natsu jumps at this opportunity and starts bodying yokais. He is just absolutely dominating these things at every turn. However, he then encounters a yokai that is, how shall I put this, a bit familiar. It's Lucy. She's apparently become one of these things. Nure Ona is what Selene calls her. Yeah, I don't believe for a minute that this is actually her. I'm just gonna assume that this is like a yokai that can shapeshift and knows the hearts of men or something like that, but I don't believe for a nanosecond that this is Lucy. If it turns out to actually be her though, that would be cool. Like she got turned into a yokai? That would be sick. With all that said though, that is actually the end of the chapter. As I said before, I like it. It's pretty good. But anyways, that's gonna do it for this video, so thank you all very much for watching. I hope that you all enjoyed it. If you did, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you all in the next one. Peace out, everybody! Natsu, and more importantly, Gray upgrades coming soon, I hope!